Hey everyone, I know I promised you guys another video a while back, but I haven't been able to upload because there's been some changes to my programming for the year and my goals when it comes to powerlifting. I wanted to make a new video to talk about those new goals for powerlifting and what are the changes exactly. So in this video, I'm just going to cover some of my goals for powerlifting, some of my goals for my body composition overall, and my new programming approach for the year based on those new goals. So yeah, I'm just going to talk about the changes that kind of went down this year. Initially, I was supposed to compete in powerlifting and hopefully qualify for the provincials here in Quebec soon. However, the qualifying totals have changed, and that's going to make it a little bit more difficult for me to qualify, unfortunately. So I think initially it was around 1,200 pounds for someone competing around 83 kilos, and now it's close to like 1,350. So they increased it quite a bit. So yeah, somewhere around 150 pounds. They must have increased it, and realistically looking at my numbers, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it that far this year. So I have to kind of change my approach for what I want to do this year and how I'm going to reach that goal eventually and hopefully be able to qualify one day. So I think the approach right now is actually to bulk. So I was hovering around 190 for quite a while, and I was able to maintain that weight without really bulking at all, without putting in that much effort to get in calories and all. So I was a pretty consistent 190. And I was pretty lean at that body weight. So, I was thinking that maybe the best approach to gain strength, now that my condition, my Crohn's is a little bit more under control, hopefully I could, start stuffing down a little bit of calories now. So the goal is to bulk up to 205. Right now, I'm around 197. So I've already put on quite a bit of weight in just a few months. And I'm not force eating a lot. I'm not really dirty bulking, just kind of lean bulking, doing still a lot of cardio like I mentioned in my last video. I think it's still important to do that. And yeah, the weight's just packing on really quick. I guess it's from kind of being in that deficit state for so long. I was doing a lot of fasting every day, and my body just grabbing all that nutrients and putting it where I wanted, kind of thing. So yeah, the weight's going up pretty quick. I think I almost want to slow down a bit. I don't want to reach 205 too fast, but I think it'll taper off rather soon, because at first it's a lot of water, glycogen that you pack on. So it's probably what I'm seeing in terms of the weight gain. So I guess the goal right now is to bulk up to 205, try to bring up my bench. That's really my main issue. In my last video I mentioned that my strength is deadlifts, and I was able to finally reach a 515 deadlift, which I actually posted. So if you haven't seen that, you can go see. And so that was a pretty big goal for me, going over the 500 pound mark, and I finally was able to achieve that. But now my main issue is actually bench. So my squat, I've always been a pretty natural squatter, pretty good squatter, without really trying. Squat in the 400s, and it's probably the lift out of the three that I've practiced the least. Deadlifts, I've always worked pretty hard on it, but I'm also pretty, I think, inclined to be good at deadlifts, but bench, I'm just really shit at it. So the goal is the weight gain hopefully is gonna impact my bench, and also hopefully bring up my squat as well, because I think those are the two lifts that bring up with leverage change, definitely get impacted the most. So that's what I'm hoping for. And then going into the next year, I'll have to do a cut down to 180-ish. So it's quite a good amount of weight. But hopefully I'll maintain a lot of that strength, muscle on the way down, and then compete at the weight class I wanted to compete at, which is 83 kilos. So I'm doing kind of it's going to be a pretty big change in weight, but I think it's going to benefit me over the long run, since I've been kind of always main gaining for a long time. I haven't done any bulking in so long. It feels a little weird to have to eat kind of more than what your body is telling you to eat, but I think it's kind of a good thing for me right now. So that's kind of what the changes were. that happened, and that's why I kind of wasn't posting, because I had to like readapt my program. And that's kind of what I want to show you guys in this video. So based on these new goals, in order to actually reach the 205 pound mark, which is my goal, I really want to focus on hypertrophy for this almost entire year. So this entire year, there's going to be, you know, some practice when it comes to the powerlifting movements, like, you know, singles, doubles, triples, all that stuff is going to be in my program. But for the most part, it's going to be just, a lot of it is going to be growing my upper body and lower body as much as possible and staying in that range. And then when we get closer to competing, I'm going to try to make it more specific and, you know, lower the reps into the lower rep range and try to get, you know, really proficient at the movements themselves. But right now, that's not really the focus. It's really to build muscle. So I'm going to try to talk to you guys about the program. I'm going to look at this with you guys. I have a whole, you know, spreadsheet that you guys can take a look at. And yeah, feel free to use this, and hopefully it helps you guys too. Looking at this program, I think it's going to be something that I'm going to be rolling with the whole year. Initially, I was just writing this block for block, but I feel like this program I built it pretty well. I'm pretty proud of myself with that. It's kind of like a mix of like conjugate, like concurrent periodization, mixed with like a lot of hypertrophy in there. And I don't know, it seems to be working really well. Like maybe one day it'll plateau kind of, but for now, like I'm not seeing it slow down. So I'm really, really happy with it. So the only thing I might change once in a while is just the variations, but I think the rep schemes, I think, are not going to change very much or at all, because it's been working really, really well so far, and it's been 2 months almost. So I'm going to talk to you about how this has been working for me. I separated this in 4 lifting days. Every off day, usually I have some cardio in there. There's going to be 2 upper body days, 1 lower body day, and 1 technique day. And in the first upper body day, the way I do it is I heard something from Mike Israetel, and what he said to do is start with your accessories and then do your compounds when you have lagging body parts. So let's say you want to focus on building your arms and your chest, and that's exactly what I'm doing for day 1. So in my upper body day A, which is an upper body hypertrophy day, I'm starting with the accessories. And primarily I want to build my arms, because I think that's a lagging body part for me in my bench, and also my chest, which is basically everything. I think my shoulders, like, I'm not sure if they're a lagging body part for me, but based on how developed they are, I'm guessing they're not as much as my arms. I start off with preacher curls. So you start off right away with biceps. Sounds a little weird at first, and it takes some time because I'm used to doing compounds first, but I gave it a shot and I really like this. So preacher curls, 4 sets of 10 to 12, followed by skull crushers, so biceps, triceps right off the bat, another 4 sets of 12, followed by some pec deck, 3 sets of 12 to 15, and finish off kind of this burner kind of exercise, cable curl, just like a rest pause kind of style. You take 10 seconds rest between each set, and then you just try to crank out as much volume as possible. So once that is done, I go to the compounds at that point. So the compounds are going to be, for week 1, it's going to be incline bench, 3 sets of 8 plus an AMRAP set. If you don't know what an AMRAP set is, it's just as many reps as possible. So if you think about it, this is really cool because you're removing a lot of the, you know, heavy lifting in a way. You're getting a lot more out of less weight because you did so much at the beginning with your accessories, which are what you need to focus on for that day. And then you go into the compound lift and you're already pretty tired at that point, you know. You're kind of like pre-exhausting. So 3 sets of 8 AMRAP on the incline. Like I said, you don't have to use a ton of weight because you're going to be already pretty fried at that point. And then I finish off with seated overhead press, 3 sets of 10 to 12. So that's my workout A of week 1. And every week the main compounds change. So week 2, I go on to do another variation. Week 3, another variation. And I'm not going to go through all of it because I'm going to bore you guys. I could put like a screenshot of the spreadsheet up here so that you guys could kind of see how it works. But basically week to week, on workout A, the variations are going to change. That's what I meant by it's kind of the pseudo conjugate concurrent periodization type program. And it seems to work. So the idea behind rotating the variations is to limit the overuse. And for me, since I have Crohn's, it's just to limit, you know, the fatigue I'm getting. Because I feel like when you're just smashing, you know, heavy lifts every week, heavy competition type movements every week, you're going to get tired and you're going to likely, you know, injure yourself. Or in my case, I'm going to feel ill in my stomach and I don't feel like having that again. So basically that's the goal, is to change the variations every week, and you should see some pretty good progress. Just every time you cycle back the exercises, try to beat yourself from the time before. So, you know, always training harder as you go along until you need to deload or something. So that's workout A. Then I'm going to be going to the second workout, which would be the leg day. Similar kind of setup, except here I'm not starting with the accessories. I'm starting with the compounds, just because like I said, I don't really need to focus that much on accessories on my legs. Like, I know they're going to grow just by doing a lot of squats, a lot of deadlifts. Most of the time, that's how I've gotten my leg development. Workout, first week workout, leg workout is going to be front squats, a 3 sets of 5. I don't tend to do much volume on my lower body, because like with the compounds, because I feel like too much bracing hurts my stomach, so I can't tolerate that much volume. I've never tolerated a lot of volume anyways on these heavy compounds for the lower body. I tend to like the lower reps a lot more. You get that CNS fatigue, but you don't get a lot of that muscular fatigue, and you don't get a lot of that, you know, core fatigue. I like keeping it on the low end with the volume here. And then follow right after the front squats, I go into RDLs, so I do 3 sets of 8. See here, the volume's a little higher, but I don't use a lot of weight on it. So I'm someone that has a pretty strong deadlift. I don't need to be, you know, doing RDLs with like 405 or some shit, you know, because I have a feeling I'm gonna get, you know, injured or something bad's gonna happen. So I tend to, you know, bring the weight down considerably, and I think I'm seeing some progress just doing that, so I'm gonna continue. And then after that, after the 2 main compounds, I go into doing some accessories. So I have, you know, some standard leg press, back extensions, calf raises, just to not neglect any body parts. So kind of a similar rep scheme as, you know, the upper body stuff. And I'll post a screenshot so you guys could see what it's like. And then again, week to week on this workout, I change the variation. So sometimes I'll do sumo deadlifts, sometimes I'll do conventional, sometimes I'll do pause deadlifts, sometimes I'll do tempo squats. You know, you could mix it up. As long as you're getting stronger in all those variations, you're likely your competition squat's going to get stronger, and your competition deadlift's going to get stronger too. So that's the point here. That's pretty much it for the second workout, which is the leg workout. And then I'm going to talk about the upper body workout B, which is like a heavier day for the upper body. So this is where kind of like the practice comes in with the heavier lifting. So on this day, instead of starting with the accessories, I start with the compounds. The compounds are usually 1 press, like a single, followed by some back off work. So like, for example, on week 1 for this workout, I start off with incline bench, a top single, and then I do some back off on the incline, 3 sets of 5. Then I go to seated overhead press, 3 sets of 10 to 12, and then I go into the accessories. Well, here I have some back, I'll have some more hypertrophy work for chest, triceps, all that stuff. So just, you know, a lot of this is a lot of hypertrophy work, but I still want to keep in those heavy singles. And one thing I started learning about is incorporating the weighted dip and the dead bench. Because I have terrible leverages for the bench, I'm using those variations to accommodate for those bad leverages. So the weighted dip really helps to get that stability, you know, out of the bottom, because, you know, the dip in of itself is a super unstable exercise. So if you're practicing getting really strong at the weighted dip, you're going to have a lot more stability on your bench. And I'm starting to notice that a little bit. And then the dead bench is said to really help people that have like weak benches out of the bottom with just terrible leverages, and even weaker triceps, because you're just focusing on the concentric part, and you could kind of go all out there. So you could check that out. It's going to be in the program too. So I have some weighted dips, and I have a new goal for the year is to hit like a 3-plate weighted dip, which is nothing crazy. I've seen people do way more than that, but for me it'd be pretty cool to get that done. So that's for the upper body heavy bench day. And then finally, the last day of the week is some technique work. So like I said, I still want to practice the powerlifting type rep ranges. So workout D is just heavy, like a heavy squat, like a single, and some tempo work on bench. So every week I'm going to change the variations most of the time, and I'll show you that. So like week 1 is going to be a front squat, the next with some tempo bench, then it's going to be some tempo pause squat, and from week to week I just change the variation, just practicing that single rep. And just this week I hit a 340 pound pause tempo squat with no equipment, no belt, no knee sleeves, no wrist wraps, nothing. And my best squat I've ever done is 402 fully equipped with like, well, not equipped, but you know, like raw, I guess, equipment. So like belt, knee sleeves, and wrist wraps. So like I'm getting close to my competition numbers on a tempo pause squat with no equipment, which is pretty ridiculous progress on my squat. And like I said, I'm not someone that was training squat all that much, but now that I'm starting to implement it a bit more, like I'm already seeing crazier gains on the squat, so it's pretty fun. So yeah, that's pretty much the entire program that I'm going to be running for quite a few months this year, and I'm just going to keep running through it until, you know, something gives out. I hope you guys could get some inspiration from this program. I'll make sure I can maybe put like a link in the description that you can check it out. And yeah, hopefully this helps, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.